25 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was 15 or 12, you couldn't be a kid, turn on the TV, and find programming oriented to you on 5 different channels all the time. Nickelodeon, the Cartoon Network, Disney, it wasn't there. You had 5 networks. Well, not network, you had ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and a local station. If you wanted to watch cartoons, you had to wait until Saturday morning. You couldn't sit at 6 o'clock and go watch Thomas the Tank Engine and whatever Nickelodeon, Nick at Night would start. You had to sit and listen to Walter Cronkite talk about Vietnam. And I wasn't interested. And I didn't want to talk to my parents. I didn't like them. But I couldn't check out, under the table. So just that exposure to adult things did make one a little less absorbed in the social world, at least aware there are bigger worlds out there. There are more important beings than the popular crowd in senior class. And so that's one area where Americans have been able to raise the youth culture to extraordinary intensities today, to put peer pressure on an upward slope that you will find in other parts of the world social, political, economic resistances to the trivia of youth culture and to trivializing uses of the digital tools. Where you get more stability and prosperity setting in those other countries, then you'll get an extension of immaturity well into your 20s. So I think that you've got a lot of different factors going into this equation of cell phones, Facebook, and so on around the world. It's really hard. It's really hard. And the discernment, the judgment that goes into that distinction of the important, the unimportant, the useful, the useless, the central, the peripheral, what you find on the web is so copious that you need to bring to the screen a body of knowledge that you have and a set of cognitive capacities, such as reading levels. You need to be able to read things and determine this is junk, this is not junk. And part of that is just knowing vocabulary, having a high literacy level, and having a lot of experience in reading a lot of things. If you pick up a newspaper when you're 18 and you never read newspapers, it's going to take you a while to figure out, oh, this is the op-ed page. Wait a minute. These are editorials that are not signed. These editorials are signed. What is the difference? Well, if you don't have a lot of experience reading newspapers, you don't know, and you can't figure out. So, just lots of reading experience going into the web that you've already acquired is crucial. Now, I said a body of knowledge. Well, yeah, know a little bit of background about what you're reading up on. And sometimes we really underestimate the importance of background knowledge to reading comprehension. And that importance is signaled in a couple of experiments that have been done before. For instance, they took moderate and low performing readers. Their reading comp skills were not that strong. But they knew a lot about baseball. They played baseball, they were on a team, they watched baseball games. And then they took high comprehension readers, readers with those good reading skills, who didn't know much about baseball. They gave them the same passage about baseball and tested their reading comprehension. And you know what happened? The lower comprehension skill readers did better. They had the background knowledge to see this is I know what this is about. I understand the echoes of these terms. I have contextual knowledge, and I get the, you know, I get the lingo here. So that is why when we talk about producing engaged citizens, we need to give them a lot of schooling in middle school, high school, and college years of reading a lot of books. Read a lot of books. Don't surf the web. Read books in your room by yourself for 3 hours straight without interruption. Turn off the TV. Most kids do their homework while watching TV. Don't have the cell phone there. You know, turn it off. And cultivate, one, the habit of attention, of concentration, focus. Don't read for 5 minutes and think, oh, but this has been going on forever. Read for 2 hours, then feel like, oh, I need a break. Okay? That's one issue. You have to have the capacity to zero in on something without needing more input, more streams, more distraction coming in. We want to avoid what people call continuous partial attention, which is what a lot of young people have today because they're not really doing any one thing. They're multitasking. They've got the TV on while they're doing their homework. They're talking on the phone while they're driving. And what this leads to is a mind that develops a habit of, again, continuous partial attention. I give partial attention to several things. I don't give full attention to one thing. And it becomes a disposition. It becomes hard to give full attention to one thing over time because you're more like this. You want that. You want the stimulation. You get chemicals going on in your brain that are asking for that. Now, the other thing is a lot of background knowledge. If you're going to, go on the web and read something about the Middle East, you should know the geography of the Middle East before you look at it. You should know the history, the religions, the wars of the Middle East. Then you're ready to make those decisions. Then you're ready to decide this website, real biased, and it's really partisan and tendentious. This website, it may be partisan, but it's less tendentious. I'm getting a little more of an honest account of things. So the broad point is all the information that is out there and how to determine what is good information, what is bad information, requires a lot of training off the web. A lot of reading time, book time, knowledge building, and literacy developing activities, often very slow, tiresome, tedious activities that young people find irritating because they've been grooved into this fast communications network.